So just a quick recap on the depreciation rules that we've got. We've got three different types of depreciation: straight line, reducing balance, and unit cost. Now the first one to identify really easily is the unit cost depreciation. That's when it's just changing value due to how often it's used. So this is predominantly about use. The other two here, we've got straight line depreciation, which is a constant rate. So straight line you need to think about as being constant rate of depreciation, the same amount per period of time. And reducing balance is basically where you probably lose more in the beginning, and then it'll gradually get less and less and less over periods of time. So let's look at straight line depreciation first. Here we have a couple of rules. The first one is this one. We can calculate the book value of something. So just going to talk through the different levers and what they mean in this one. Here we have book value. P is our purchase price. What did it start at? What did you buy it for? R here is the rate again. And that's normally as a percent per annum. Here we have time. This is the period of depreciation in years. It's going to go a number of years. What's important is that this is per annum and this is years. So the time period and interest rate is matching. That's the same for all of the finance calculations that we've done so far. So the next rule that we've got, this one here, and it talks about what the depreciation rate is. That's this big R here, this is the rate. We've introduced this different variable here, S. This is what we call the scrap value. That's what it's worth at the end of its usable life. P here is still the purchase price and number of years. So those values still stay the same. Then as we go into our financial solver here, just click that. So here I've got depreciation. This can get quite complicated, and we're going to have a couple of different rules for depreciation. So you could have a little play with this and work through that. In fact, your textbook talks a little bit about what this depreciation does in the finance solver. But what I think would be really important for you to have a go at is actually an E-activity. An E-activity is basically a collection of rules and formulas and notes that you set up that you can use in context. It's kind of like having your summary sheet that you're used to having for your exams, but on your CAS calculator. So we're going to go through and set up an E-activity that uses both these rules for straight line depreciation. So when I open the E-activity, it just looks like a little bit like a screen. For this, you'll need probably your keyboard so you can do some typing. You can write in some notes. So I'm going to start talking about here. This is about depreciation. I'm going to do straight line depreciation as this first one. You might like to put in what all the different things means. You might need to say that BV is the book value, P is the purchase price, R is the interest rate, the depreciation rate. Then you might say percent per annum to remind you. T is the number of years. You don't have to do all that, you just might like to remember. What is really important is so we can actually do some maths with it, is we want to insert what's called a strip. Now, remember that numSolve that we used with the simple and compound interest? We can use that now, but inside our E-activity. So we click numSolve, inserts this strip here. See, it's waiting for us to type in the equation, so I'm going to type this in. BV equals P times 1 minus RT divided by 100. Press go. I want to make sure it looks like what I've got here. BV is one thing. P 1 minus RT of 100. So that looks great. Type here, this is my book value calculation, straight line. Okay. I'll just close that out. Come back to my activity. Now I've got another rule that we need to put in. We've got to put in this one here about finding the depreciation rate, where I can use the scrap value. So I'm going to insert another strip, num solve again. Type in this particular rule here is R equals P minus S divided by N times P times by 100. Make sure it looks like what I've got here. And as you can see, it doesn't quite look right. It should be NP over the bottom there. So I need to fix that up. There we go. P minus S over NP times 100. Awesome. Press enter. I'm going to call this my rate equation. Again, I'm looking at straight line depreciation. You might like to go and enter into your activity what all those different variables mean. Okay, so I'm going to close that. Now here's my activity. I've got some explanations, some notes, and I've got my 2 num solve strips. Let's go find a question that we can do with this one now. Okay, so here's our first question. We're going to try using our activity form. A building crane has been purchased by a company for $450,000. It's expected to have a useful life of 19 years. Calculate the crane's value at the end of 16 years of service if its recommended straight line depreciation rate is 5% per annum. So basically what we're looking for here is the book value after 16 years. That's what we want to know. I'm going to look at my book value rule here. So to do this, what I need to find is some variables. Do I have a purchase price? Yes, it's $450,000. Do I have interest rate? Yes, it's 5% per annum. Do I have a time period? Yes, after 16 years of service, so this would be time in years when we write that down. So basically I put in these 3 values over here. 450,000, 5%, 16 years. Make sure that's ticked. Click solve. It says here that it's going to be worth $90,000. Don't forget to tell me that you used CAS to solve it. So in this next question here, we have quite a few different things: purchase prices, straight line depreciation, percentages, and time periods. Basically, as we look through what we have here is all very similar: straight line, flat rate, constant, and straight line. So this is all about straight line depreciation. I can use my e-activity to continue to solve these problems fairly quickly and simply. So, when you're sending this question out to, even if you're going to use the case, you still need to explain what values you're using where. So, for part A, my purchase price, P, 2,600. The rate, 20% per annum. My time, my number of years is 2. Once you've done all that, you can say on CAS, go to your CAS, and then we'll be able to come back and write in what our accumulate or what our book value is. But accumulated depreciation is how much has it lost. So in this case, my depreciation is going to be what I started with, what is it worth now, and then that's going to be what's left over. So Let's have a go at this first question here. So my purchase price is $2,600. It's 20% per annum after 2 years. Solve that. Tells me that my book value is $1,560. So it started at $2,600, $1,560. So my depreciation, how much have I lost so far? I'll just flip back to the main screen. Do that calculation. It's 1,040. So I've lost $1,040 so far on part A. Let's just do part D. They're all much the same here. Purchase price is $15,612. 12%. Time period is for 5 years. So let's go back to my activity. I'll do a book value 15,612. Interest rate 12%. 5 years. Okay, so solve. See that my book value after 5 years is $6,244.80. So my depreciation is what I started with, minus the book value. If you find that you think you'll do this question a lot, we could set up another numsolve strip in here. Let's put it here. Insert strip. Numsolve. And what I actually want to do here is my accumulated depreciation. It's going to equal my book value, my purchase price, minus my book value, and it should carry through all those answers for me. Awesome. So then my depreciation is $9,367.20. You can see it brought through the values from the previous question. I'm going to name this here as accumulated depreciation. Now I've got those three formulas in here. The book value, my cumulative depreciation, and my rate if I want to find it.